All right, it's James Hill Sports. Once again, I am joined by my main man. He is Coach Willie Simmons, the head football coach of the Florida A&M University Rattlers. First and foremost, Coach, I hope you, your family, the Rattler Nation, and all the gentlemen in this building are doing well.
It's always great to see you, James. Same to you and yours.
Thank you, sir. Talk a little bit about the spring game. Fans were just blessed on the highest of 7 hills to get an opportunity, a sneak preview, if you will, of the 2022 Rattlers. What were you able to show your fan base?
Well, first, it was great to see all the Rattlers show up. We filled the east side of the stands with the west side undergoing construction, and so it's good. Great sunny day. We split the teams up, to make it competitive, and I thought we gave the fans a nice preview of what this team is all about. We had some explosive plays on both sides of the ball. I thought the defense performed extremely well throughout the day, getting a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks. I thought the quarterbacks did a really good job of distributing the ball, and again, all in all, a really good day. Unfortunately, we had a couple of guys, go out with injuries, and we'll assess those guys as we, go on this week. But all in all, I was very pleased with our spring practice this year. I thought we got a lot better, and it gives us a lot of momentum heading into the summer.
The running back, knee injury, can you give the fans a little bit on that?
Well, we're still awaiting the results from his MRI, and we'll know more once we get those back. But Destin's a tough kid. He's gone through a lot in his life, and so if it's something that he can bounce back from quickly, we anticipate him doing so. But if it's something that's a little bit more serious, obviously we'll have a plan for that too. So obviously he's one of our guys, and you hate to see a player who's worked so hard, go down on the very last practice of the spring, but in football that happens sometimes, and we'll continue to move forward and, get him on a rehab plan to get him back quickly as we can.
Coach, as you know, the quarterback position is very important anytime you have a football game and a football team. And as I said, you know all about that. Can you talk about some of the gentlemen you have, Mr. McKay, the gentleman who comes in from Vanderbilt, and again, the young fella from Orlando? You got some talent in your quarterback room.
Yeah, we've been extremely blessed to have 6 quarterbacks, on our roster right now, all who come from winning programs in high school, all prolific passers, some with a lot of dual threat ability. Rashawn, obviously, as the incumbent, did a really good job last year, leading us to 9 wins. Jeremy Musa comes in highly regarded, having had a great junior college career out in California, signed on in the SEC at Vanderbilt, didn't play as much as he would have liked, but has come here, has picked up our offense really, really well, and has shown his big-time ability in these 15 practices. So we're looking very much forward to seeing how much he continues to grow and develop in this offense and push Rashawn for that number 1 spot. And then Junior had a really good spring. He's a very, very smart kid. He picked up right where he left off when he got here last year. That was one thing that jumped out at us, how quickly he picks things up. But Cameron Sapp, LeJon Howard, and Corey Jordan can't be forgotten about as well. All those guys have a ton of ability, just don't have the game experience that Rashawn has or Jeremy has, but they have very promising futures, and we're looking forward to again a great summer with those guys to develop, and we'll see who comes out at the top come this August.
When you guys throw it around, you have some guys who can go get it. In particular, Smitty. I call him Smitty, Mr. Xavier Smith, out of Haines City, the All-American. Can you talk about that gentleman? He's able to come back and return to the highest of 7 hills. And again, anytime he lines up, it's a long day.
Well, again, I'm what they would call an eternal optimist, which means I try to find silver lining in everything. COVID has really taken this world for a spin. We've lost a lot. We've had to change how we do things. I'm doing an interview with a masked reporter, so all the things that we're accustomed to has changed. But as an eternal optimist, I say, well, what's the silver lining in it? What can we find as a positive? Well, Xavier Smith, right? Because Xavier would have exhausted his eligibility last season had it not been for the extended year due to the COVID waiver. So Xavier was able to come back for his 6th year, and he brings back All-American ability, right? He's one of the most dynamic, explosive players in all of college football, and we're blessed to be able to have him for one more season. And so looking forward to, his partnership with K-Dot, Jamaria Shareed, and David Manigo. Leland Wilhoit has had a really good spring. Trey Davis is a transfer student from Wayne State who's come in and had a phenomenal 15 days. And so the Rag Boy room is as good as they've been. We're looking forward to finding creative and innovative ways to get those guys involved and get them the ball. But it's going to be a fun summer and a fun July and August, trying to keep them all happy and get enough balls coming their way.
FAMU is also known for playing trademark defense. And when you look at gentlemen like Mr. Land and some of the guys who return, again, you talk about a long day for the opponents. Can you talk about what you bring back on the defensive side of the football?
Well, obviously, we lost some really good players. Marquise Bell, we feel confident that we'll hear his name called in a couple of weeks at the NFL draft. But then you also have guys like Savion Williams, Antoine Collier. Those guys may have a chance to get on NFL ball clubs as well. So lost some really good players, but we feel really good about the guys that are returning. You talk about Isaiah Land, the reigning FCS National Defensive Player of the Year, Buck Buchanan Award winner. General Hunt, is one of the top young defensive tackles in all of college football. B.J. Bowler, first team all-conference corner. Nadarius Fagan, a returning starter at linebacker. So Javen Morgan, who is probably one of the most athletic defensive backs in all of America at any level. So we have a lot of talent on that side of the ball, and we've done a really good job of recruiting, bringing in guys that can add to that. Eric Horn, Isaiah Major, Kamani King, and other guys that we feel will be able to come in and continue the dominance that we displayed last season, and maybe even take it up a notch, believe it or not.
Coach, Mr. Major is making a name for himself here on the highest of Seven Hills. Can you talk about that gentleman and what people can expect out of him?
Well, you can expect from Isaiah Major what we saw from him the moment he stepped foot on campus, not as a practice player, but on his visit. We do our uniform photo shoots with the guys when we bring them in, and Isaiah came out of that photo shoot drenched in sweat. He was that excited about being on the highest of Seven Hills. He brings that type of energy, that type of passion, that type of love for football every single day. So you'll see a guy that, one, loves this place. I mean, he has an affinity with FAMU, with his coaching staff, with his teammates, and it permeates throughout our locker room, and that's what you want to see. And so his passion is infectious, much like Savion Williams was last year. So it's ironic, I guess, that he's wearing number 0 as well. But again, he'll bring that same level of passion and energy to that side of the ball. But tremendous playmaker, extremely fast, can hit, can run. We expect big things out of Isaiah this season.
Coach, HBCU football, it's a way of life, it's history every day. Can you talk about that experience? And again, the Pantheon, we see gentlemen like Jay Gaither, we see gentlemen like Coach Hub, and the list goes on.
I think the important thing for everyone to understand and recognize, and we're in this push now as HBCUs to try to continue to brand our programs and remove some of the myths and the stigmas that come along with attending HBCUs. Our brand of football isn't necessarily unique. It's football, right? We play Division I football. Our conference is a Division I conference. Our winner will go to a bowl game. The thing that makes this place special and other places like ours special is the HBCU culture. What you get when you become a part of this family across campus, not so much in the locker room. Football is football at the end of the day. Across the country, the majority of the guys in those locker rooms are African-American young men. That's just the facts, right? But what makes it different is when they leave the locker room, the field house, the weight room, and they go to class, here, they're still in the majority, as opposed to other places where they're in the minority. So that's the experience that they'll get here, where they're celebrated and not tolerated, where they get to experience Greek life on a grand scale, student government, things like Set Friday and some of the traditions that we all have. That's what makes this experience unique. So we don't really talk so much about HBCU football because to me, there's really no such thing, right? This is football. But there is an HBCU experience that you'll be a part of when you come to a school like FAMU, and that's what makes it special. That's what makes it unique, and that's what's making 3, 4, and 5-star young men nowadays want to see it, feel it, touch it, and when they get here, they see what it's all about. And I think that's where you'll see us continue to attract our fair share of top-tier student athletes.
Coach, there's a couple games I always mention every time I see you. We look at the Florida Classic, and we understand what FAMU was able to do to Bethune last year. Can you talk about that particular game, Orlando, Florida, right before Thanksgiving? Everybody's there, family reunion atmosphere. It's must see. I mean, it's the game that everybody wants to go to.
Well, when you love football, which many of us do, you love rivalries, right? And so whether it's at the high school level, the professional level, or in this case, the collegiate level, those true blue blood rivalries is really what everyone looks forward to. Late November, early December, that's what you're getting, right? You're getting those key in-state rivalries, those guys that played high school ball together, that took official visits together, that know one another, and we're putting it all together against schools that compete against each other in everything, academics, recruitment of students, branding, and all those things. So for us, as the two dominant HBCUs in the state of Florida, the only Division I HBCUs in the state of Florida to clash head-to-head every year, it's made for TV, right? It's the biggest game of the year in our opinion. It's the greatest rivalry in sports, to any Rattler, any Wildcat, and we're just excited here that we were finally able, after 9 long years, to get ourselves back on the other side of the win column. So we want to continue to do so. Our guys go to work every day understanding how important that game is, not just for bragging rights, but for our season. Every year we've been here, that we've gone into that game with huge implications, right? And so being able to win it, being able to come out as champions at the Florida Blue Florida Classic is obviously something that we aspire to, and it's obviously one of our biggest team goals every year.
Coach, I would never put the cart before the horse, but at the end of the season, there's postseason play. There's playoffs, and then there's also the Celebration Bowl, and those are rewards for the teams that go out and earn it the old-fashioned way. Can you talk about some of those avenues in terms of playoffs and also Atlanta, the Celebration Bowl, and again, Swac teams having an opportunity to get there and really just play at a high level?
Well, for us, we talked about goals. Winning the Florida Classic is one of those goals. Well, obviously, winning the Swac championship is another one of those goals. And obviously, and of course, the winner of the Swac championship gets an automatic berth into the Celebration Bowl. And that game has been dubbed the HBCU National Championship. We want that as well. We want to claim in the HBCU National Championship. This year, we want to claim an undisputed